Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shanyavari Paschatire Sitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayan Rupa Karamayan Dadhati Swaparantikam. I'd like to humbly beg the blessings and mercy of their lordships, Radha Govinda and Radha Kalachandji, the Parampara, meaning Madhavendra Puri, who was guru of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who was guru of the Gadhadhar Pandit. So begging the blessings of this line of Lord Chaitanya's and Srila Prabhupada's blessings and all the devotees' blessings to speak something Krishna conscious on this very, very auspicious day of the appearance of Sri Gadadhar Pandit. First, I'd like to offer heartfelt condolences to all the devotees for the departure of our beloved His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and also prayers for our beloved Jayapataka Swami for his health and welfare, and praying for welfare of all the devotees, and just appreciating your services and hoping that all the devotees who are in a state of separation from our Guru Maharajas, devotees that have passed on, that we can take shelter of them, get spiritual strength from Sri Gadadhar Pandit. And wonderful thing about our movement is that the Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya in his different features has manifested before us in our lives to bless us with the mercy. And I always think about how when we were first instructed to chant the holy names, chant japa, that we first take shelter of the Panchatattva in order to receive their blessings and mercy, help us to overcome offenses. And so Gadadhar Pandit is part of this merciful team of the Panchatattva, and he is an incarnation of the internal potency of the Lord. He's a confidential devotee. He's engaged in the Lord's service as in the Shakti Tattva. He's the devotional energy incarnate, and he's the energy of a bhakta, devotee. He's like so special. He's actually Srimati Radharani, and there's a wonderful quote from Gora Gana Desha Deepika by Kavi Karnapur that describes this. The pleasure potency of Sri Krishna, formerly known as Vrindavaneshwari, is now personified in the form of Sri Gadadhar Pandit in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's Shama Sundar Balaba, very dear to Krishna. And believe it or not, formerly as Lalita Saki, always devoted to Srimati Radharani. Thus, Gadadhar Pandit is simultaneously an incarnation of Srimati Radharani and Lalita Saki. What a very intimate, special personality. Very, very special. So sometimes it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Gadadhar Pandit is the most important among the branches of the Chaitanya tree. And there's many sub-branches of his disciples and grand disciples. So this is our family tree. ISKCON is on the family tree. And so we have special blessings coming today through Gadadhar Pandit because he is Srimati Radharani. And we remember how Prabhupada would say that you pray to Radharani. Radharani, please pray to your Krishna, ask your Krishna to, to accept me, to accept my offerings. And Prabhupada would say, take shelter of Srimati Radharani so that you can get the mercy of Krishna. So we are so blessed that in the Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya is actually Radha and Krishna, and Gadadhar is Srimati Radharani. So what a powerful combination of blessings and mercy, so much needed in the Kali Yuga, of course. And so this is something we can always take shelter of. And every day take shelter of the Panchatattva Maha Mantra and the holy names. And in this way, we will be so much uplifted. And the thing is, Radharani and the gopis, they had kind of a heaviness in the heart, and transcendental, of course, because they couldn't do openly like the cowherd boys, just play with Krishna in front of anybody. And in fact, all the parents of the boys would encourage them, oh, you're still home? You go and play with Krishna. Go be with Krishna. But with the girls, the gopis, and Radharani was different, right? And they were having to be so polite and shy and demure and modest and around their elders, and they could not have these intimate, open dealings with Krishna. So they would always think, oh, nobody's more fortunate than these boys. And oh, well, they were just like in their hearts, just so much wanting to have that opportunity. And guess what? They have the opportunity now in these pastimes with Lord Chaitanya because they come in the so-called male bodies. The Gadadhar comes as so-called male who can openly exchange with Krishna, with Lord Chaitanya. He's able to do that. It's so special. So he comes, Radharani comes as Gadadhar. He comes to this planet. This planet has a lot of blessings, huh? So he comes to Chittagong. I've never been there. I think it's in Bangladesh. And this is around, some say the same year as Lord Chaitanya that he appeared there. Some say it was a year later. But they're um, practically same age. So, and basically, most of the references say that Gadadhar, he came to Navadvip with his parents, Madhava Mishra and Ratnavati, and his brother Vaninath. They came when Gadadhar was about 12 years old. So he entered into student pastimes with Lord Chaitanya, and they were inseparable. They would play, they would be together inseparably. And this was very pleasing to Sachimata, that Gadadhar was such a good friend to Nimai. And then when they entered into these school pastimes, things evolved a bit because Gadadhar's nature was very, very gentle, and he was so respectful to his elders. It reminds us a lot of Srimati Radharani's qualities. You know, she's so respectful to her elders and loving like that. And she has her gentleness. She also has her fiery nature too, but a lot of the qualities of Srimati Radharani, and then of course Lalita, we can see in Gadadhar Pandit in the devotion, strong devotion to the Lord, who is both Radha and Krishna. So, so in these school pastimes, Nimai, he becomes externally, he seems to be so arrogant. He seems to be so competitive, always arguing with logic. It seems to be like rough, and Gadadhar seems to be so soft and gentle. So these two seem so opposite when they're manifesting these moods in the school days. And what Lord Chaitanya would do is after school, he would go to the different bathing ghats and he would defeat all the students from the different teachers in logic. And this was like heavy, you know, he's just like a transcendental debater that no one can defeat. And so at this time, even though prior Gadadhar would never be separate from Lord Chaitanya, at this time, he actually tries to avoid his company because he's like, oh no, Lord Chaitanya, he's just going to come. Nimai's going to come and waste my time with all this nonsense arguing. And you know, I just don't know how to take it. And I wish he could become a devotee. Everyone like Srivas and Advaita and Mukunda, they all wish the same. I just wish he could be a devotee. He would be able to spread Krishna consciousness so well. He's got this talent. He could defeat everybody. He could defeat all the Mayavadis, the atheists. Oh, I wish he would become a devotee. And so everybody who was close to Nimai would be, especially Gadadhar, thinking like this. And then sometimes, you know, what could he do? Nimai would approach Gadadhar and say, Gadadhar, what is the meaning of mukti? And then Gadadhar is thinking, oh no, here we go. And he would say, he would quote from some Shastra, well, mukti means free from all miseries and sufferings. And Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya, he would say, no, that's not the right answer. Now you go home and you study your Shastras and you come back tomorrow, and I expect a better answer. So, so Gadadhar's like, oh, I just wish I could get away from this. So, so this was the transcendental tension that went on during the school days. And so there's a lot of wonderful things that we learned from their school day times. And that is that we may get into a lot of dry logic or whatever we get into that is not so favorable, maybe for our service. Maybe we've gotten into things we haven't gotten the blessings to be exploring. And so, like with Nimai, he becomes, like this logician, and everyone's thinking, why can't he just become a devotee? So we learn that this is really what everyone is meant to do. We're meant to get the blessings of these personalities to become devotees, to aspire to serve with love and get out of all this other stuff that goes on. And like Nimai, eventually we'll see that he does take shelter of spiritual master. He goes to Gaia. Now, this is after he and Gadadhar had already some association with Ishvara Puri in Navadvip, because Ishvara Puri had come to Navadvip, gave some association to the boys. Ishvara Puri loved Gadadhar. Gadadhar was such an example of a gentle disciple, even though he was a Shiksha disciple, you can say, because Ishwar Puri instructed Gadadhar in Ishwar Puri's writings, some very beautiful Gaudiya writings. And also, of course, Ishwara Puri was very attentive to Lord Chaitanya as well. And so, going into the future a little bit, we see Nimai goes to Gaia and he meets again with Ishvara Puri and he becomes initiated. So this is valuable lesson for us. Take shelter of the spiritual master that everyone needs to do. And this will free us from all this mundane, you could say, kind of contamination we've been carrying with us, a lot of contaminations in the subtle body, etc. So Lord Chaitanya, he brings back to Navadvip this ecstatic mood. And so when the devotees had heard about that, one of Srivas Pandit brother heard about how Nimai's returned and he's a devotee. And everyone is so amazed, especially Gadhadhar is like, what? How is this? And so Sri Ram, he says, now the Lord wants to meet with all of us. He wants to speak with us. He wants to tell us about this. He wants to share his devotional ecstasies. So he wants everybody to meet at Shuklambar Brahmachari's ashram. And then he's going to speak to us. So devotees are all excited, meeting at Shuklambar's. And then Gadadhar, he kind of sort of hides himself a little bit in the back area.
अच्छा, ये राजमा में एक कड़छी वो अपने वाले डाल दूं? वैसे वो इतने स्पाइसी तो डाल दूं एक कड़छी?
Hare Krishna. So when Lord Chaitanya comes into the assembly, he's so thrilled to see everyone wearing tilak and they're all devotees and they're chanting the holy names. And then the Lord says, I was so fortunate. I got Krishna from my guru, but I can't seem to keep him. I'm wondering, where does he go? I seemed to be in separation from Krishna, and he was experiencing this ecstasy, and then he fell over and hit a pillar, and he went unconscious. And all the devotees are noting all his ecstatic symptoms, and they're realizing, yes, this is it. This was the answer to our prayers. And Gadadhar, he was thinking the same. Advaitacharya, Srivas, Mukunda. Yes, we've been praying for this, and this is the answer. And so then Lord Chaitanya, after he hears them chanting the holy names, then he comes back to his consciousness and he's saying, "Where's Gadadhar? Where's Gadadhar?" And Gadadhar's sitting there weeping in ecstasy, so happy to see that his dear Nimai is a devotee now. He's just so much in bliss and crying tears of ecstasy. And and so then Lord Chaitanya he's saying, "But you know, I had Krishna, but he seems to have gone." And then Gadadhar, in the mood of Radha, is pacifying her lord, and she's saying, "Don't worry," because Lord Chaitanya, he's in the mood too of Radharani. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? So Gadadhar is there as Radharani to support the Lord's moods that he has as Krishna and as Radha. And so he's telling the Lord, "Don't worry, just be patient. Krishna will appear." And so actually, everyone's observing this, and Sachimata, she's just so much happy to see that Gadadhar, with his good qualities, is able to pacify the Lord. And in fact, one time, Gadadhar came to the house of the Lord to give spices to Shachimata. And when he arrived, Lord Chaitanya was in it again, this ecstatic mood. And Shachimata never knew exactly what to do for her son Nimai in these moods, how to pacify him. And she was always in transcendental anxiety about this. And so Gadadhar, he's asking Nimai, what is this? What is this state? And Nimai is saying, "Well, I had Krishna, but then he left. And where is he? Where is Krishna? Where is he?" And Gadadhar says, "Don't worry. He's with you. He's in your heart." And when Nimai hears that, he starts practically violently trying to claw open his heart. And Gadadhar takes his hands, calms him down, and said, "Just be patient. He'll be with you. He's always with you, but don't worry. It will be all right." And so when Sachimata sees this, she says, "Oh, Gadadhar, only you can help my son. Can you please bless me with my desire that you always stay with Nimai and never leave him, because only you can help him?" And he said, "Oh, yes, mother, I will do that for you." So in that way, always in Navadvip, Gadadhar was with Nimai. So at one point, we know that the Lord took sannyas. Gadadhar was there for this, along with Nityananda and others, intimate disciples. And then also Gadadhar and others accompanied the Lord to go to Nilachala Jagannath Puri on the request that he stay there, by Sachimata's request, that she would be able to get news from the devotees about Nimai, because it's not that far away. So then Nimai went to Nilachala, and Gadadhar and others went there to accompany him and stay there. And so Gadadhar Pandit, he took a Chaitra sannyas, which meant that he was in the renounced order and he would stay in one place, one kshetra or place, and practice his renunciation there. So he would stay because the Lord was going to be there. So he had vowed to take this kshetra sannyas and not leave Puri and always be there to serve Nimai. And so in this way, actually, he had always been renounced his whole life. He was a brahmachari. He was always celibate brahmachari. He never married. And then he took this vow to stay. But at one point, Lord Chaitanya was going to take his tour to Vrindavan, and he was actually going to leave Puri. And when Gadadhar heard this, he was so much feeling separation coming, and this was just more than he could bear. So he was telling the Lord, wherever you are is Vrindavan, I will accompany you. I'm a sannyasi now. I give up everything that keeps me from my Lord. And if staying here keeps me from you, then I cannot keep my sannyas vows. And he's saying all of these things to the Lord, why he should leave and accompany the Lord. And the Lord said, no, you should stay here. I have given you the deity Tota Gopinath, and you must keep that worship going. You must keep your vows. It will be a smear on my name if you don't, as my follower, keep these vows. So, but Gadadhar was saying that, just to be with you is so much more valuable and so much, millions of times uh, the uh, the benefit. So anyway, so the Lord did start his tour, leaving Puri, and Gadadhar stayed behind, walking behind, thinking, "Well, I'm not accompanying him. I'm coming, but I will go behind." And so they got some little distance. And then Lord Chaitanya said to him, Gadadhar, are you following me because of your desire or my desire? Is this your will or is this my will? Because my desire is that you stay in Puri and you keep your vows. So this is my will. And so when Gadadhar heard the Lord speak like this, he understood the lesson. He understood that the disciple or the follower, the associate, takes on the will and the desire of the Lord. This is a very important lesson. So Gadadhar Pandit, in his very obedient mood, almost like Rukmini, right? Sometimes it says that he's Radharani with that tinge of the mood of Rukmini, that kind of submissiveness coming from her, from Rukmini. So in that very humble, submissive mood, he said, okay, my Lord, I will remain back and take up my service to Tota Gopinath as you desire and stay and keep my vow of Chaitra Sannyas. And then when Lord Chaitanya got on the boat to continue with his journey to Puri, and Gadadhar saw him taking off without Gadadhar, Gadadhar fainted. And so Sarvabhauma was requested to take him back to Puri. And so Gadadhar was in great separation. But the Lord, he was on his way to Vrindavan and he stopped in Ramakeli. He instructed Rupa and Sanatan. But then he wound up coming back to Puri, didn't go to Vrindavan that time, and he came back and he said, Gadadhar, I couldn't go to Vrindavan because I was offensive to you. I didn't let you come with me. I've offended you. Please forgive me. Please bless me. Give me your blessings. If I get your forgiveness and blessings, then I can in the future go to Vrindavan when it's appropriate and I have your blessings. And Gadadhar said, well, if you want to go to Vrindavan and you say that you'll be able to go to Vrindavan with my blessings, then I bless you because I want your will to be done. So this is wonderful, wonderful lesson that we get. And also, we get to know that if we have confidence and patience and we surrender to the will of the Lord, then everything works out very well. So things did really work out well for Gadadhar. In another pastime, Mukunda asked Gadadhar if he would like to see a great Mahabhagavad Vaishnava. And Mukunda said, we are going to visit Pundarik Vijayanidhi. I know him from, I think it was Chittagong when they lived there together. That was where Pundarik was from, that area. So Mukunda knew him, knew of his greatness, and wanted Gadadhar to get his association. So they had association with Pundarik Vijayanidhi in Navadvip when Pundarik was visiting. But Gadadhar had doubts in his mind because Pundarik was manifesting externally a very opulent mood. He didn't seem like what Gadadhar understood a Vaishnav to be, because Gadadhar's whole life was so renounced. And here's Pundarik Vijayanidhi flaunting so much opulence, his body, just dressed like a prince and and all his furnishings. So anyway, Gadadhar had doubts in his mind about, is this a devotee? And so Mukunda understood the mind of Gadadhar. So Mukunda began to recite verse about Krishna's dealings with Putana. And when Pundarik Vijayanidhi heard this verse, he went into ecstasy. And he was thrashing and flailing and breaking everything and destroying everything all around him. And when Gadadhar saw this exhibition of intense ecstasy, he realized, I have been offensive. This is such a great devotee. How am I going to rectify this offense? So actually, Lord Chaitanya told him subsequently that you take shelter of Pundarik as your guru. Now, this is very fitting because Pundarik Vijayanidhi is Vrishabhanu Maharaj, the father of Radharani from Krishna Lila. Gadadhar is Radharani in Gaur Lila. So here is Vrishabhanu Maharaj appearing as Pundarik and giving initiation to his daughter, Radharani, in the form of Gadadhar Pandit. So we see these beautiful lessons of learning to have patience and confidence and surrender in knowing the will of the Lord. And there one gets the blessings of the spiritual master, right? And in this way, you can really learn the art of devotional service. And so these members of the Panchatattva, they're coming to teach these lessons of service. How do you serve? How do we serve Lord Chaitanya? Right? So in all the pastimes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll see all the lessons of guru and disciple in relationships with devotees, how to serve. This is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in Puri, the wonderful relationship with Gadadhar and Lord Chaitanya was that Gadadhar was given a place of residence at uh, the gardens by the Yameshwar temple, Lord Shiva temple, um, where Tota Gopinath was given a temple near these gardens by the sea. And Lord Chaitanya would go there to sit with Gadadhar, hearing from Gadadhar, reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a wonderful expression of uh, Radharani Gadadhar assisting Lord Chaitanya in his mood of Radha wanting to serve Krishna by hearing from Gadadhar, from the Bhagavatam, hearing about Prahlad and Dhruva, etc., all the difficulties that they went through, Prahlad and Dhruva. And Radharani, she went through lots of difficulties, transcendental difficulties. So Lord Chaitanya is hearing Gadadhar speak about these different pastimes, and he's learning, so-called learning from Gadadhar about Radharani from the Bhagavatam and her mood. You see, Gadadhar comes in these pastimes to teach the Lord, because in Krishna Lila, Radharani's not going to um, go up to Krishna and just boast her glories and teach like that. But in Gaur Lila, Gadadhar can be in that mood to assist Lord Chaitanya, in his moods. Lord Chaitanya wants to know, what is it about Radha that, is so special? Her love, her mood, how she's so attracted to Krishna. And so he's learning from Gadadhar. He's learning about Radha Bhav, and he's relishing this association with Gadadhar speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are great lessons for us and blessings, because these pastimes that we hear about, they help us to imbibe humility and surrender. They help us to strive for the mood of serving Radha and Krishna. And they show us that the mood of Sankirtan in the Gaur Leela is not different from the Rasa Leela in Vrindavan, where you have the devotees meeting at Srivas Angam, the house of Srivas. And this is like the Rasa Stali of Vrindavan. So here we have a kind of like a covered, not real covered in the sense of Maya covering, but uh, the pastimes are in the transcendental covering of Sankirtan. They're at the Srivas Angam performing the Sankirtan, which is non-different than the Rasa Leela in Vrindavan. So we have Gadadhar as Radha Shakti, who's giving us the blessings of Lord Chaitanya as they relate as Gaur Gadadhar. And together, when they come in these intimate meetings with the devotees are seeing Gaur Gadadhar together and realizing them as non-different than Radha and Krishna. So everyone is getting the blessings of Radha and Krishna. We need the blessings of Gaur Gadadhar in order to enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So this is the special um, gift that Gadadhar gives to all of us. He gives it to Lord Chaitanya, he gives it to all the devotees, he's giving it to all of us so that we can enter into these pastimes. Prabhupada said, we want everyone to enter into the dancing pastimes of the Lord. So this is very, very special way of getting blessings through the Panchatattva, and specifically through Gaur and Gadadhar. We're Gadadhar is helping the Lord to hear about the energy and the energetic. The energy is the Radha Shakti, Radharani. The energetic is Krishna. So he seems to be teaching Lord Chaitanya about how we come to this understanding of Radha and Krishna through Srimad Bhagavatam and through the Panchatattva. And just to conclude with a pastime of Lord Chaitanya neglecting Vallabhabhata, a great scholar, because Vallabhabhata was proud. So Vallabhabhata felt neglected, but he went to Gadadhar because he knew Gadadhar was gentle and kind and compassionate. So he wanted to speak his writings to Gadadhar. And so when this happened, then Lord Chaitanya seemed to be neglecting Gadadhar because of his association with Vallabhabhata. So because of this, Gadadhar felt so sad. He was so sad because of the neglect of the Lord. But then the Lord came to him and said, "Oh, why are you taking this so hard?" It was just like the pastime with Rukmini and Krishna, where Krishna seemed to be like he was going to neglect Rukmini. Oh, you might as well just divorce me, there's no use staying with me. And Rukmini fell into um, uh, her unconscious state of separation from the Lord. And so the same kind of mood was happening in this pastime, where Gadadhar felt the Lord was neglecting him because he was associating with Balabhabhata. So then the Lord said, "Oh, don't worry. I just wanted to see you in a mood. I just wanted to kind of get you a little bit angry and and so evoke that mood just like the Lord did with Rukmini." And then the Lord told him, "You should Balabhabhata wants to take shelter of you, and you're saying no, no, but I want you to give initiation to Balabhabhata." So Balabhabhata got that great fortune. So we can see in this pastime that uh, the different moods of Gadadhar as Radharani, how all these different moods were serving the Lord in his ecstasies in the Sankirtan mission and helping him in his very confidential pastimes to be able to realize what is it as Radha, what is it that she experiences in this love? So Gadadhar came to be able to assist the Lord in those ways and to also help us to understand these pastimes and for us to take shelter of the Panchatattva and chant the holy names of the Lord. We're taking shelter, we're chanting the holy names, just as in the mood of Lord Chaitanya and his associates, and how they're feeling in the relationship with Radha and Krishna through the relationship of Gaur Gadadhar and Lord Chaitanya's relationships with the devotees in the Panchatattva and their associates. So, we're able to relate to this because Prabhupada's explained to us this is present day pastimes, right? Lord Chaitanya's mission is going on right now. This is happening. And so we get to be part of it. And we want to take advantage of these special days when the different associates of the Lord, they appear or disappear, and we want to get their blessings. We want to read their pastimes and get the lessons. So this is our great fortune uh, to see how we can do this. And just in closing, um, we see that blessings come through the worship of Gadadhar Pandit because he makes Lord Chaitanya happy. Lord Chaitanya is happy, and then he gives his blessings. When the Lord's happy, then the devotees become happy. And Lord Chaitanya says, I will be happy if you worship and glorify Gadadhar Pandit. So, like Prabhupada said, please tell your Krishna about me. Please tell your Krishna about me. Go to Radha and then get the blessings of Krishna. So thank you so much for allowing me to have the privilege to share the pastimes. There's so many more, of course. It's unlimited practically, but we get a like an overview. We get to see that by chanting, we can experience through the Panchatattva's mercy the love of Radha and Krishna. And we see that Navadvip, this chanting and dancing, it's the Sankirtan covering of, you could say, the Rasa Leela. So the pastimes in Vrindavan and Navadvip are non-different. The main activity we saw in Navadvip was the Sankirtan, and this is delivering the conditioned souls to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna via Gaur Gadadhar. So maybe there might be some questions or comments or reflections, anything you might like to add.
I wanted to hear a little bit about the contrast between Lord Chaitanya's nature and Gadadhar Pandit's nature.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Lord, even when he was quite young, he had a lot of feistiness, and especially as Nimai Pandit, he was very externally seeming arrogant. And so Gadadhar, he seemed to be just the opposite. And sometimes they say, oh, opposites attract. But, Gadadhar, his whole life, he was very, very renounced, even the way he dressed. But Lord Chaitanya, he had his more opulent grihastha pastimes, right? And so he would dress up a bit when he was with Lakshmi Devi and Vishnu Priya. So he had a different external appearance, but especially during the school days, we see that Lord Chaitanya, he started manifesting his logic pastimes. And these seemed like, to the boys, it seemed almost like transcendental bullying, right? Oh no, here comes, Nimai Pandit. He's just gonna get us. And a lot of times they would be thinking, I don't want to hear all of this. Devotees, they don't like to get involved with dry logicians or Mayavadis or, so this was such a contrast to Gadadhar's very simple, very quiet nature. Gadadhar would be so happy to sit just quietly, read Bhagavatam, study scripture. But Nimai, he had to go out there to all the ghats, the bathing ghats, and just harass everybody, all the students. And he'd say, your teachers, what are they teaching you? And he would be so much of a rascal. But Gadadhar, he would never, ever do that. He would never, ever speak like that. And and he was just seemingly so polite and so well behaved, and it seemed like Nimai was rude and and just so proud. But Gadadhar, he was very humble, very humble. And so we see kind of like this flashy nature of Lord Chaitanya because of his, learning and being such a Pandit. And so this was this was a little different, right? To say the least, after the Lord came back from being initiated by Ishvara Puri. So you can just imagine the joy that Gadadhar felt. Not just Gadadhar, but also Srivas, all of Srivas's brothers, Advaitacharya, Mukunda, because they'd all been praying, praying, praying. Oh, please make Nimai a devotee. How great it'll be. He'll be able to help so many people become Krishna conscious. So this was a hard time for Gadadhar when Nimai was like that during the school days, because they had such a, intimate friendship. And for Gadadhar to try to avoid Nimai and his erudition, it was like, it wasn't very natural thing. And it really caused disturbance in Gadadhar's heart. So anyway, this is just a pastime to show that we are not meant to spend this human form of life like, dry scholars, etc., but we are meant to take shelter of the guru. So both Nimai and Gadai show that how they took shelter of guru and how they were able to um, exhibit Krishna consciousness in ecstatic love for all the devotees to see.
Thank you. That was such a good meditation. I just love that contrast between their characters. And I also especially appreciated the way you articulated the relationship between Srimati Radharani and her father and Gadadhar Pandit taking initiation. That was so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, really, even Lord Chaitanya, being in the mood of Radha too, sometimes he would call out to his father, Pundarik, Pundarik, oh father, oh father.
Oh yeah.
And devotees with, what is that all about? Because in that mood of Radha, he would see Pundarik as his father.
As Vishwadhamita. And
Yeah.
I also really feel so much like I relish so much when we bring in the Vraja Leela characters, how they interact in Gaura Leela. This is so fascinating, actually.
Yeah, it really is wonderful. And it's an amazing thing when our acharyas tell us that the personalities like Gadadhar, he's a combination of mostly Radha and Lalita. There's some manifestation of Lalita there, and also, of course, Rukmini, because if there's Radha, then there's the opportunity for the different expansions of Radha to have their influence as well. So it's a pretty inconceivable way of expressing these personalities. Through one personality, you're having these manifestations of different gopis and like that. So that's pretty amazing. And sometimes, you hear it expressed that why did Gadadhar have to come? Because Krishna and Radha are already there in Lord Chaitanya. So why does Radharani have to come? It's already, Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna. But, it's just like I heard, I think it was Amarendra Prabhu, he gave a nice talk about Gadadhar and mentioned how, just like a director of a play, he tells you, okay, this is how things are going to be. Now take the direction. But when it's time to um, perform the play, then the director's in the he's in the wings. He's there to help, but he's letting you act on the stage on your own. So Gadadhar comes kind of to help with direction. Okay, so he's serving the Lord. Now this is Radharani's mood, and he's giving all the directions, and then it's time for the Lord to just take off on his own. And he's saying, yeah, the Lord takes off on his own in the Gambhira. He's in the Gambhira with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, who are Lalita and Vishaka. But Gadadhar is at a distance. He's not in the Gambhira because he's assisted his Lord in helping him to understand this mood. And now the Lord, the actor, he's on his own. He's there with with his intimate associates, and he's experiencing Radha Bhav in the Gambhira. Anyway, he spoke about it really nicely. And he said that is why Gadadhar came. So he was hearing this, of course, from his spiritual master Radha Govinda Maharaj.
Yeah, another thing that came to my mind is also when you were describing the natures, how Gadadhar is born on the dark moon day and Mahaprabhu is born on the full moon.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's indicative.
yeah. So he was Gadadhar appeared and disappeared on Amavasya. Yeah, and yeah, he has this kind of sort of more quiet, calm, hidden mood. And sometimes they say that who is Gadadhar? He's Radharani after Krishna's taken her love.
Right, right.
It's kind of like that's the dark moon.
Yeah, the emotions, Mahaprabhu is manifested it in full, and therefore Gadadhar is it's bereft of that emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, so very special day, especially for your group, Radha Shakti and Sangha.
Yes.
So, you're all blessed to really appreciate this Sangha. So that's the real blessings today for all of you from Gadadhar. From Gaur Gadadhar, they're helping you to have a Sangha where you're really nourished in developing this love for Radha and Krishna.
Thank you so much, Gadadhar Pandit ki jai.
Jai.
Nidra
Thank you,
Dev, Dasi ki
Nidra.
jai. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
All glories.
Any other comments? Any other feedback for Prabhu?
Yes, thank you, Nidra Prabhu. Such an enriching talk you give. So many things I learned. So sweet. And I
Thank
echo what
you.
I
Thank
I
you,
echo what
Rukmini Priya.
I echo Shiradi Mataji. I enjoy how you shared how the initiation. I don't remember hearing that before. So very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for all your services.
And looking forward for next month, first Tuesday.
Yeah,
Will you
next,
join?
yeah, Krishna willing, I'm really looking forward to that, and Yeah, so thank you for the privilege and the opportunity to have your association. It's really important to me. And so so much indebted to you all.
We're indebted to you for taking your precious time, and I'll send you a suggested topic for June and see if you you agree with it.
Sure. Yeah,
Thank
thank you so much. I appreciate that.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, so is it time to conclude? Should I offer my obeisances, Radha Govindadasi?
Yes,
Okay,
thank
thank you so much. My obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpatrubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai, all blessings of Gaur Gadadhar.
Jai, that was such a
Radha
beautiful
Govinda ki jai.
Shri Shri
Jai.
Radhika.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare
Thank you so much,
Bol.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank you.